What is up, guys? It's Cal, and in this video I'm going to show you exactly what add-ons I use in WoW. And I actually get this comment on a lot of my videos on what add-ons I do use. The reason I've kind of been neglecting making a video on it, I originally didn't really want to make a video on it, was because I don't really use any like out of the ordinary add-ons. I mean, all the add-ons I use are fairly common to some extent, but maybe I do have some outliers out there that you might find interesting in your WoW. So as you see, I obviously don't use any UI add-ons. I've always used the Blizzard UI. So let's go through the add-ons I do use. So add-ons right here. Let's scroll to the top. Okay, first one, Angry Keystones. So what Angry Keystones is it's very useful if you will do Mythic Pluses, because essentially what it does is it breaks down the timer for Mythic Pluses and says this is the time you need to get a +3, this is the time you need to get a +2, and then this is the time you need to get at least a +1, that sort of thing. And then also what it does is that you can mouse over enemies in the Mythic Plus that you're doing, and it will tell you the percentage that that enemy is. So you might mouse over an enemy, and in the bottom right here, see where it shows, you know, the name of the thing, it'll say like that enemy is 3.25% or whatever. So Angry Keystones, very useful for doing Mythic Pluses. Then we have Candy Buckets, an add-on that has no use currently, but what it does, as you see there, shows map icons for Lunar Festival, Hallows End, and Midsummer Fire Festival. I don't really need to have that on currently, but essentially what it does is if you open your maps during any of those events, it'll show you where all the like candy buckets are in Hallows End, just in case you want to pick them up, because it seems like almost every year, or at least every other year, they add like a new pet or some new cosmetic thing. So that's really the only reason why I have that add-on, because I obviously have all the achievements for those. Next one is Deja Character Stats. I actually just recently downloaded this like last week, and if you go to your characters thing panel, it just shows you more things for like offense, damage, attack power, attack speed, weapon DPS, focus regen, global cooldown, and then another thing, doesn't show it right now because I don't have any speed on my gear, but I don't think that the normal UI like shows speed if you have speed on your gear, which I think is kind of dumb, which that's actually the entire reason why I downloaded this add-on, is because I have like a speed gear set just in case I do like old world dungeons for transmogger mounts. I put on my speed gear set so I can run through it faster, but you can't see that now because I have no speed on my current gear. So there's that. Next up we have Exorcist Raid Tools. Now the only reason I originally downloaded this was for the Iskar boss in Hellfire Citadel. That's where it is, right? Iskar, let's take a look at Iskar. A blast from the not so distant past. Iskar. So if you remember on this boss, he threw that like eye at people, and then people got affected with those winds and they got pushed back, and the only way for them not to get pushed back and off the platform is if they got that giant eye thrown at them. Well, Exorcist Raid Tools helped with that encounter a lot. So that was the main reason I originally downloaded it. To this day, it's still useful to look at it. You just type /RT and it shows all the stuff like raid cooldowns. You can check some of these. So if a paladin in my group uses Aura Mastery, it will show up like on the side there. You can also do that same thing with DBM, I believe. This is just another useful raid add-on. And then Battle Res, this is also another big reason I use it. You can't see it now because it only appears when I'm in a raid, but right beside my nameplate up at the top, it will show like a Battle Res icon, and then it'll show how many minutes and seconds until the next Battle Res is available. Very useful. Raid Inspect shows everyone in my raids. If any of their gear is unenchanted, it'll be like flashing, it'll show their item level. I can also see the level of their weapon and like what they have on their weapon, all that stuff, their relics. So it's kind of nosy, nifty add-on. And then another thing is Raid Check. This is, I don't want to say this in say chat, well there's no one really around me, but if I press like, if I type like /RT food, or if I type /RT food chat. Okay, it did say it in state chat, but anyway, it just shows like it'll like it's a tattletale add-on essentially. It shows like what if anyone doesn't have food, that sort of thing. And then it's also useful. You can do it with Vantis runes. You can do it with just the normal runes, and then you can do flasks, food, all that stuff. And then there's invite tools. So for example, if someone were to type this long string of characters to me, is that the alphabet? A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, V? V is not the last letter in the alphabet. Anyway, if someone types that entire thing to me, it'll auto-invite them to my group. So there's that. I can make that message whatever I want. And if someone types that message to me in Whisper, then they'll get invited to my group. And you can like disband raid with this button, RT disband, RT reinvite. So you can like disband and then reinvite the raid. It has some timers, which DBM also has. Some bonus loot, shows what people have won from bonus loot in your raid attendance. Other things. Who pulled? This is also useful, is in the chat it'll show who pulled the boss, just in case anyone pulled early. You can call them out for it. And yeah. Also some things with the loot. Anyways, pretty useful raid add-on. What is next? We have Fishing Buddy. The only reason I downloaded this add-on was when I was getting the pond nettle mount. Let's look at that. Let's look at that thing. Pond nettle. I made a video on getting this. It's like a fishing mount where you can fish it up in any of the fishing pools around Argus. That's Argus, right? Yeah, around Argus. And what it does is when you fish, it'll like throw this pop-up window showing this is what you've caught. This is the percentage of the thing that you've caught relative to how many times you've casted. That sort of thing. I don't know. It's kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, that is Fishing Buddy. Next up, we have Legion Invasion Timer, and then Legion Invasion Timer options is part of that. And what that is if you see here in the bottom right corner, let me just drag that to the middle of my screen, is it'll show me when the next Legion Invasion is. It's 8 hours and 31 minutes is the next one, because they're on like a, yeah, it even shows right here when they'll be, because they're on like a certain timer. Next one is at hour 22, and then hour 16:30 on Monday, and then hour 11 on Tuesday, 5:30 on Wednesday, so on and so forth. And yeah, I mean, I don't really do the invasions all that much. I just kind of don't care much for them, because I mean, I might do them if I want nether shards for like a video, or they are actually a very good tool for leveling up your alts. So there is that. I just have it because why not? Long macros. Useful add-on for making macros. What it does is to activate it, just type /LM, and you can make macros that are 123 characters long instead of macros that are 255 characters long. Now, this doesn't actually add new macro slots to your character, because that sounds like hacking, cheating. It essentially makes new macros in your current macro slots, sorry, but then combines them all into just one macro button. So, like this one I have for Eastern Kingdom bonfires for the Midsummer Festival. That's essentially what I've used them for until I got the candy buckets add-on. And then you can also do like a character specific macros sort of thing. After long macros, we have Nomi cakes. I can't really show you this right now, but if you go to Dalaran, and then you know Nomi, who you can give like random regions to, and he has a chance of giving you recipes. The only reason I can't really show you it now is because I have all the recipes from him. But if you get Nomi cakes, and then you talk to Nomi, and then you mouse over the dialogue box that pops up for Nomi, which shows you, hey, you can, you know, give him certain regions for these certain things. If you mouse over those things, it'll show you what cooking recipes you can learn if you give him regions for that. So it's useful if you want to get new cooking recipes from Nomi. It'll tell you what to give them for certain cooking recipes. And then we have NPC scan. So NPC scan is just a rare spotter add-on. If you come close to a rare, it'll shout at you. I have Silver Dragon as well, which is the exact same thing. I have both of them just because, you know, why not? And they both shout in my ear. It's actually very loud and annoying. Sometimes I turn them off. But if you need any rares, if you're hunting rares, I would definitely recommend either NPC scan or Silver Dragon. Then we have pet battle teams. I use this for well, pet battling. If you go into my pet journal, it shows all of these teams that I have set up. So this is actually the very first pet team I ever made: Shimmering Wormling, Clockwork Gnome, and a Fossilized Hatchling. That's just why I call it the A team. It's not the actual team I currently use for destroying teams. It's actually this one, which has a Mechanical Panda and Dragonling, Graves, and then Weebomination with all of those abilities. This is a very good AoE team, and I win like 90% of the time because of how AoE it is. I usually end up only having to deal with 2 pets instead of all 3. But essentially you can just make up teams. So this is the team I switch out a lot, so I can put in like Clockwork Gnome. Let's put in that, and I can go to it, and then all the names for these teams are the names for the certain world quests around the Broken Isles, just so I can know what pets I need to finish that world quest. Useful add-on for pet battling. Next up, we got Pratt. Pratt is my chat add-on. So I don't like, I've had Pratt for so long, I honestly kind of forget what the regular UI, like normal chat looks like, but it shows like people's names, the names of people in like their class colors. You can also copy and paste links with Pratt, which is the main reason I downloaded it. You can copy links into your chat and then paste them. And then another thing which I just kind of mentioned is like, let me type in, this is the name of one of my alts, the Calusius. Probably doesn't show up the certain color because he's the opposite faction. So let's type in Cowman. There we go. Shows up as red because he is a Death Knight. So that's pretty cool. Pratt, useful chat add-on. Then next up we have a raid achievement, which this add-on essentially I have it for Legion Dungeons and Legion Raids. Let's see if we turn it, if we look at it right here, it just shows the different achievements in like the Legion Raids and Legion Heroics, and I think I might need to update it a bit. It essentially says like if you failed an achievement or if you've completed achievements, it'll print it out in the raid chat. So for this achievement, Dark Souls, I do not have. Defeat Kil'jaeden in Tomb of Sargeras without any Shadow Souls, finishing a cast of Destabilized Shadow Soul on normal difficulty or higher. So if I was doing Kil'jaeden on normal difficulty or higher and any of the Shadow Souls cast a Destabilized Shadow Soul, in the chat it would say Dark Souls failed. And then these ones are green because I have completed them. So there's that one. And then next up we have Server Hop. I actually don't use this one. Really, it just doesn't seem useful. I go to pre-made groups, click Server Hop. There was another one I had some time ago, but I deleted it. This one doesn't really seem like it works. But it'll hop to another server. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. You can clear the blacklist. And as you see, it's not really hopping to another server. So let's move on. Okay, so Silver Dragon I already talked about a bit. It's just like NPC Scan. I have both of them just because I like it when my ears bleed. Then next up we have Sim Permute. This add-on is super useful if you want to maximize your DPS. Now what I mean by that is if you have Sim Permute downloaded, you just type /Sim Permute. This maximizes DPS relative to the gear you currently have in your inventory. So I just type /Sim Permute. All the gear with check marks beside them is the gear that I currently have equipped. The gear with no check marks beside them is gear in my inventory that is, well, not equipped. So what I can do here is I just got this ring from a quest from killing a boss in Antares, the Burning Throne. I believe this ring is better than the current ring I have because I am, which is Grasping Tentacle Loop. I'm switching over to Crit from Mastery because I'm using Dire Beast instead of Dire Frenzy. You hunters, Beastmaster hunters probably know what I'm talking about when I say that. But if I were to click the check mark there, and then down here, because I want to sim that ring with the crit enchant on it, the 200 crit enchant, I'm going to look over a ring and then do 200 crit. And then if the ring had a gym slot, I would do that as well. But then what I do here is click item names there and then generate, and then on the right here it'll generate a loop that I can go to raidbots.com, and then at the bottom of it there's like an advanced tab. I click that and then I copy and paste this text into there. I get all the settings situated. I actually made a video on Sim Permute before. The video has to do with like best legendaries for hunters or something on my channel. But I copy and paste this into Raidbots, and then I click Run Simulation, and then it takes a bit, and then it runs a simulation of all the gear you currently have on, plus the gear that you put the check on, and then it'll tell you what gear you should wear for the better DPS. So for me, it'll probably say use Zealous Tormentor Ring plus Sephuz, and you'll get 1.5 6 million something DPS, whereas using the Grasping Tentacle Loop and the Sefus will get you like 1.59 million DPS. So Simpermute, very useful for maximizing your DPS. Next up we got Skada. You might know what Skada is. If you have Recount, it's kind of the same thing as Recount. I know Skada is very popular. I think Recount might still have more downloads than it, but Skada I found just gives you more information. So this is kind of the reason why I've been standing at the target dummies this entire video, is Skada will tell you your DPS. That it tells you how much damage you've done, plus your DPS, and then how much like the percentage of damage that you did to the target dummy. So it's a very good raid add-on. Tells you your DPS, and you can click on it. It'll show you the damage that you did with every spell and the percentage of damage did. And then you can also right click it and it'll show you buff uptime, mana gain, 0.2 mana. I apparently gained 0.2 mana from something interesting. Holy power gained, energy, threat, total healing, damage. It just tells you a whole bunch of stuff. And then you can click this and you can sort between the different fights that you did. And then you can look at your damage taken, your DPS, damage, healing, mana gained, debuffs to spells, like who dispelled anything during the encounter. And then also if I was in a raid, like a party group or raid group, it'll tell me the people in my raid group's DPS as well. And then you can also report it to the group by clicking report here. You can whisper to someone, just type in their name right there. You can say it to myself. I've actually never done that before. Okay, well, whatever. You can say it in your instance group, you can say it in your guild, your party, say chat. You can select someone and then report it so it whispers your target, and then you can do how many lines you want it to do, so you can do it up to 10 or a full 25. And that is Skada. Next up we have Titan's Panel, which if you look at this bar at the top of my screen, that's what Titan's Panel is. It shows you your location, the exact coordinates of where you're standing, how much XP you gain per hour, whatever, time to level, and then the main reason I have it is actually to see how much gold I have on all my characters combined. So there's that. I have not found out a way to make it show up, like what this shows is all of my gold across all my alliance tunes. I don't have much gold in my horde tunes, like maybe a total of 30-ish K. I can't figure out how to make it show both horde and alliance. Like if I right click this, you can do some more stuff with it, like show up in period, show up in merged servers. That doesn't really do anything for me. But then if I go over to show tune and then go horde, these are the two horde characters I've really logged on recently. It does not show them. It only shows them if I log over to those tunes. I don't know. It's kind of annoying. Also, another useful thing for it is it shows your durability. Like I'm at 99% right now, and if I were to repair, it would cost me 71 silver and 25 copper. Very useful in that respect. And then it shows bags. I've taken up 96 bag slots out of my total of 136. So there's Titan's Panel. Next up, we got World Quest List. Useful add-on for World Quest. Let's look over at the Broken Isles, and it shows you all of these world quests. So these are all the ones that cost artifact power. You can sort it as well. So sort it by rewards. I always sort it so artifact power is at the top, and then it has order resources, Blitz of Sargerai, and then gear, gold, whatever. It also shows like an icon, like this is a PvP world quest, PvP world quest, PvP world quest. And then on the left here, you obviously should see the X's of where that world quest is located. And there's a lot of them. It does not show Argus in this list. I have to click over to Argus, and these are all the Argus world quests. And then it obviously shows you the time until it expires. So that is World Quest List. Next up, we got Trade Skill Master. Now this is actually a add-on I did not know existed 6 months ago. I actually made a video on how I get all of my gold, which essentially was just me saying, hey, I sell things on the auction house and make a lot of gold from it. And then I got ripped apart in the comments section of people telling me to use Trade Skill Master. So I downloaded it. I looked up a bunch of guide videos on it. I still don't really understand it, but whatever. If I go to the auctioneer, this is what it does. I actually don't really use the shopping one that often. I use auctioning, and then I think auction DB you like need for it to work. Well, first up, let me type in /TSM. This thing comes up, and really the only thing I can show you that I do understand is everything on the right here. If I were to have that in my inventory and then I click start post scan here, it'll post those items one at a time. And then if I click this one, it'll post these items 20 at a time. So let me click start post scan here, and it'll post it to a gold that I have set. I don't really know if I have it set to the best thing, but essentially if I click post right now for the Fallen Adventures Journal, it'll post it for 547 gold. I can click it, and the least expensive one is 699 gold. So it'll undercut that person by a little over 100 gold. I wish it didn't do that. I wish I undercut it by like 1 gold, to be honest, but I don't know how to set my TSM for that. I still need to learn how to use it better. But let me actually go back to show, what do I do? I think it's show log, right? Yeah. And it's still scanning all the items in my inventory. I don't want to sell my Fallen Adventures Journal, so I'm going to skip that. And then Storm Ray, if I were to click post, it would post all 8 Storm Rays that I have in my bags for I think that's 18 gold each, right? It wouldn't post that entire stack. Yeah, it shows the least expensive one is 15 gold each. Whatever. So let's go back to show log, and it's still scanning through them. We have Cursed Queenfish. I usually don't post these until there's 20 at a time, so I do have 20 Cursed Queenfish. Let's post that. I do have 19. I will post that. I actually usually don't post them until they're like 17 at a time. Like I won't post that Black Barracuda. Won't post the Runescale Koi. It's still scanning. Let's post these Defiled Augment Runes. I do post those 1 at a time. Maybe I should post them 20 at a time, but I usually don't have enough to post them 20 at a time. But anyways, that's that add-on. It's called TSM. There's a bunch of different sections of it. Like there's auctioning, app help, auction, DB. Yeah. Destroying is actually a useful one I use on my Death Knight. If I get like a green item, this dialog box will pop up, and then I can click destroy, and it just saves time. So there's that. And then the final one, as you see here, is DBM. There's a whole bunch of sections of DBM. Just download DBM and it'll download all of them. You've probably heard of DBM before. It's a necessity when it comes to raiding. Or bigwigs. Bigwigs or DBM, they're both popular. And what DBM does, if you don't know, is it'll show up timers like when something's going to happen. You can also do pull timers. So let me just type in /DBM pull. I don't know if it'll do it because I'm not in a group. Okay, I will do it. So this would show up to everyone in my raid group, and it'll pull, or I will pull in 3, 2, 1, and then that's when to pull the boss. The main reason for that is in case people want to pre-pot, you know, pre-pot before the boss fight, and then pre-pot a minute into the boss fight. And yeah, so DBM and SCADA, both very useful for raiding. Exorcist raid tools is also useful somewhat for raiding, and then the other ones are just kind of nice to have also. Wait, there's one I think I missed. I just remembered it. Yeah, I skipped over TomTom. I went from Titans panel straight to World Quest list. TomTom is very useful if you're looking for coordinates. If you've ever gone on Wowhead and looked up a quest and people are like, hey, this is the coordinates to this area. Well, TomTom is a good add-on of typing in those coordinates. So what you would do is you would type /way, like let's say for example, Ajuna, and then type like 5263, and then I can press enter there, or I can type like a message, hello, and then what will happen is an arrow would usually pop up. I think the arrow will only pop up if I'm on the Broken Isles, but what I can do is go to the Broken Isles on my map, and I can see the point right there, hello. I can type in like, that's where a rare is, or whatever. I usually use it for rares and stuff like that. I even said in my videos, like all my guide videos, I will say the coordinates of an area, but then I will also show it on the map just in case some people might not have a coordinate add-on because might be too much strain on their computer, whatever. But anyways, yeah, TomTom, useful coordinate add-on, would recommend, 10 out of 10. But anyways guys, that's the entire video. Those are all of my add-ons I use just because I've gotten tons of comments asking me what add-ons I use, and well, those are them. Nothing too spectacular. Some of you guys might also use those same add-ons. If there are any add-ons that you do use that you would find very useful, you can leave it in the comments below. I'm definitely interested. Anyways, yeah, that's the entire video. If you liked it, you can leave a like on it. You can sub to the channel for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video.